Hello, my name is Matthias and welcome to the FPL Scope and my team selection video for Game Week 12. But before we can go to Game Week 12 and check out my current team and my current plans and also my projected free hit team and my free hit plans and also the manager of the week this week in the FPL Scope Mini League, we're going to get to all of that. Before we do all of that, we have to talk about what happened in Game Week 11, and that was one of the worst game weeks of all time in terms of points totals, because most people like me got around like 20, maybe 30 points if you were lucky, maybe like closer to 10 points if you're really unlucky. But yeah, just a terrible game week in general for everyone, but that's the thing. It was for everyone. Not that many people scored that highly. We'll see that with the manager of the week, which is still a very low score, and there's a reason why the manager of the week got the highest score that they did this game week as well, because it's a very particular team, but we'll get to that eventually. But yeah, my team only 21 points. Basically everyone blanked except for Mitoma, who got one lucky assist against Everton, and that was basically it. My captain Haaland got 1 point, which ended up being 2 points in general, or in total. And I was actually pretty lucky. I mean, the only two players who got points for my team were my bench players. As you can see, Cameron Archer with 9 points, Kabori with 8 points, and also Destiny Doggy with -4 points. So my transfer this week was bringing in Tsimichaos for Pedro Porro, which actually gave me 1 point. So finally a transfer where I actually gained some points, even though it was only 1 point. But at first I was pretty unhappy about Tsimichaos playing. He came on as a substitute, of course, in his game, because I figured, oh, he's going to block off the potential I have to get Kabori off the bench with his 8 points. But then Udogi played and got -4 points, and I was really happy that Tsimichaos did play, because that would have cost me 5 points in total if Tsimichaos didn't play. So in the end, I felt a bit unlucky at first, and then I felt pretty lucky with how Tsimichaos played out in terms of getting the 1 point at least. But speaking of Tsimichaos, he is going to be a major talk of discussion for this video in general. Really let down by him being not a starter. It seemed like he was going to be a certain starter after starting his first 2 matches after Robertson got injured, but now he didn't start in the league game, and then he did start in Europa League, made one massive mistake against Toulouse, and then got subbed off at the half. So I don't really have any faith in Tsimichaos going forward anymore, which I did have a lot of faith in him last week. Like last week I was all about Tsimichaos and him being like a good option for the next 6 to 8 game weeks just about, but now I can't really trust him to play from start. And as a defender, that's pretty much what you want. You want someone who starts games, because that's way more important than, for example, an attacker. So if I had Darwin, for example, and I was worried about his playing time, I know Darwin can come on with 30 minutes left and score a goal, but Tsimichaos cannot come on and get points for clean sheets, because you need to play the 60 minutes to get the clean sheet. So yeah, very disappointed with Tsimichaos, but at the same time, glad that he blocked the -4 from Udogi, who had a red card and conceded 4 times against Chelsea in the end. So yeah. But yeah, starting up top with the goalkeeper, 0 points from Flecken. He also got injured and had to be subbed off at the half against West Ham. Supposedly it's a dead leg, though. We will talk more about that in the plans, but he ended up with 0 points because he obviously he got a yellow card, I guess. Is that why he has 0 points? Yeah. Either way, he ended up with 0 points. He didn't play 60 minutes, so he only had 1 point from playing from start, and then got a minus point from somewhere, because West Ham only scored 1 goal. But yeah, Tsimichaos, like I said, got 1 point. Really disappointing. Gabriel got 2 points, and really unlucky as well. I think it should have been a free kick for him with the 2 hands into his back. Some people claim it should have been a goal for Newcastle. I, obviously biased as I am with Gabriel in my team, think that it should have been disallowed, and that probably would have helped Gabriel get a clean sheet and some potential bonus points as well. He got 2 points, but I'm just happy Gabriel is back starting, and it's going to be like a major cog in the Arsenal system. So I'm really happy about Gabriel going forward. Matty Cash, however, not so happy about him. 0 points against his old club, Nottingham Forest. I think he got minus points. He got subbed off before the hour mark as well, and he also conceded twice, so he ended up with 0 points, obviously. He actually got subbed off with a bit of a shoulder injury, but now he was on the bench for the Europa League game that just finished, or Conference League game, I should say, that just finished. So I think he should be fit to start at the weekend, so no worries there for Cash, I think, in terms of his availability going forward. Then we have Salah, who blanked against Luton. Very disappointing, but at the same time, not disappointing for me, as I didn't have him as captain. I was just happy that he joined Haaland in blanking after being really disappointed in Haaland, but we'll get to Haaland eventually. Heung-min Son with the 2 points. He was really close to scoring a goal against Chelsea, so he still looked lethal, still looked like a good player going forward, but just didn't score. It was not Spurs' night at any in any way, really. They started off really well and had like a lucky goal go in. I felt like it was going to be like one of those games where we sort of saw the difference between Spurs and Chelsea, where Spurs have basically just been more lucky than Chelsea so far this season, but Spurs just totally lost their heads, as they have had a thing of doing against Chelsea in the past as well. So really unlucky for Son, who was not part of the blame there for that game, but he still is good at least. Saka with another blank for him, 2 points against Newcastle away. One of the toughest fixtures, especially for Saka, who's pretty poor away from home, but yeah, he's been looking pretty disappointing lately, and then he actually scored a goal and had an assist in the Champions League, so that was encouraging at least. But then he also was hobbled at the end of the game and had to be subbed off. So yeah, a bit up and down when it comes to Saka in terms of what I feel about him, and that's always been the case with Saka. Like sometimes he's performing really well, I'm really happy with him. Sometimes he's like middling, not doing too much. So yeah, he's a decent asset, but nothing like, I don't think he's essential by any means, at least. Then we have Diaby, who got 2 points against Nottingham Forest. Didn't really get many chances there. Aston Villa in general really struggled away against Nottingham Forest, which several teams have done so far this season. So I think Nottingham Forest are actually a pretty decent defense, especially at home. So yeah, that's probably not the best fixture to attack either going forward with other players. Then we have Mitoma, who was my one shining light in this game week with the assist against Everton. He had a cross that was deflected in by Ashley Young, who's been really unlucky the last few weeks. But yeah, Mitoma still looks good, and Brighton still a good fixture. So yeah, he's pretty good as well. Both him and Diaby have been alright for me, at least gotten some points at least. So yeah, decent happy with them. Then we have Holland and Alvarez blanking in their game. Yeah, again, really disappointing. They beat Bournemouth 6-1, and once again, I was one of the ones with the captain in a high-scoring game where the captain didn't get any points, because I captained Holland now against Bournemouth 6-1. I captained Salah in the 9-0, was it, against Bournemouth last season when he blanked, and I also captained Havertz back in that infamous Chelsea 7-0 win as well. So I'm 3 for 3. I'm really unlucky when it comes to those high-scoring games where I captained the wrong guy, but yeah, Holland blanked and Alvarez blanked as well, and I'm starting to get a bit worried about Alvarez being, I don't know, maybe not the best pick, but I'm going to give him one more game week most likely, because I think he's going to start now since he was rested in the Champions League. I think he's going to start in the upcoming league game against Chelsea, and I think City can score against anyone. So yeah, hopefully Alvarez can show something there. Otherwise, he might be one of the players that I sell in game week 13 potentially, but that's far into the future. On the bench, Matt Turner, he is now also on the bench in real life. He doesn't start for Nottingham Forest anymore, so I do have a bit of a goalkeeper problem there with both Flecken and Turner potentially out for next game week. I'm going to talk about that pretty soon as well. Udogie, red card. He's out for the next game. I thought he was going to be out injured potentially for this game, so I had him benched anyway. Luckily, because the -4 points, I'm really happy that I didn't get any of those points on the pitch. Then we have Archer, who scored a goal. Didn't help me. He was on the bench while he scored. He had a 12-pointer on the bench earlier in the season. The times that I've used him, he's blanked. And yeah, he performs on the bench. And the same can be said for Kabore. I benched him in another game week where he got 5 points, got an assist. And then in the next game week, in game week 8, we had a double game week. He ended up with 1 point total, I think, through 2 games. So yeah, those guys are just not working out for me. And it's the same as it was last year with Andreas Pereira as well. Like, I don't know, those like really cheap bench options just never seem to perform when they actually have to play for me. So yeah, I'm kind of fed up with those guys in general. But at the same time, just nice to have them there. Archer and Kabore are 2 really good players. They just play for really bad teams, so that's why they are pretty much stuck to the bench. So that's pretty much my score. 21 points in total. Small red arrow to 371k. Not the worst thing in the world. 51 points behind top 10k though. That's kind of annoying. I was getting some traction there in terms of closing in on the top 10k, but at least I have all my chips still left. I have my wildcard, I have my triple captain, bench boost, and free hit still left, all of them. So yeah, pretty happy about that. 672 points. Can't really complain too much, but that was my game week 11. Let's take a look at what's going to happen in game week 12 for me. So this is currently my game week 12 team, and as you can see, I have a couple doubts. So the first thing I need to know is what's going to happen with Flecken. I still haven't seen any press conferences because I'm filming this on the Thursday night after all the Europa League games and Conference League games. So far we don't have any news how it's going with Flecken, but if he is fit to start, I think I just have to start him, even though it's Liverpool away. But looking at that fixture, maybe it's time to do a goalkeeper sub there anyway. Maybe I need to do a goalkeeper transfer regardless, because at some point I have to sell Flecken either way because he's going to blank in game week 10, or in game week 10, sorry, in game week 18. And by that point, I need a new goalkeeper. So maybe I'll just move to Johnston straight away, even though Johnston doesn't have the best fixtures from game week 15 onwards. He does have some good fixtures, and he's someone that I can just keep until basically forever, really, because I think Johnston is the best goalkeeper in the game. So I might just do that transfer in general, but ideally I don't want to do any goalkeeper transfers because I think they are kind of a waste of time. Flecken, like I said, he's kind of the opposite of Johnston in terms of matches. He has some tough matches now against Liverpool and Man City, I think, potentially. They have some tougher matches now coming up, but then after that they have really easy matches, and that's when a lot of people want to bring in Mbuemo, for example. So in game week 14, I think they play like Fulham and some easier matches, at least from that point on. So Flecken, I'm not too fussed about selling him if he is fit, but if he is injured, then I have to sell him, I guess, and Johnston would be my replacement. Then Tsimichaos in defense, like I said, not too happy with him. It's either Tsimichaos or Udogie out for me this game week in terms of defenders. If we get some news or if we get some inkling that Tsimichaos is going to start, maybe I can save the transfer there as well. Ideally, I'd save the transfers and have 2 transfers for after international break, because there's going to be a lot of injuries and a lot of doubts after international break in general. And just having 2 transfers just feels nice in general. But Tsimichaos might be something I have to deal with the week after I bring him in, which is super annoying. He got 2 clean sheets when I didn't bring him in, and then when I finally got him in, he was benched. Kind of like with Gabriel, who was benched when I brought him in as well. So my transfers have not really worked out lately. And Tsimichaos is someone that I might have to just transfer out straight away. But we'll get to the transfer plans pretty soon. Gabriel against Burnley at home, top-notch fixture. Really happy about that. Don't really have to say much more. Same with Cash against Fulham at home. Really good fixture. Really happy about starting him. I have no plans on selling him either for this game week. Then we have Salah against Brentford at home, who's currently my captain. I'm pretty happy about him as a captain, but I am considering Saka potentially if he is fully fit to play against Burnley. Haaland, maybe not so much. Maybe I could do a punt on Mitoma. I was kind of hoping Estepinian would be back healthy, but now he had to be subbed off in the Europa League game. So I don't know. It's not looking likely that he's going to be a big boost for Brighton either. So currently I'm leaning towards Salah captain. Son is also like a decent captaincy option, but I think Wolverhampton have just been really good against the bigger teams so far this season. And Spurs are also kind of an unsure thing after the Chelsea result with Maddison potentially out. Van de Ven out for a while now. Pedro Porro might be out now injured apparently. So just a lot of issues with Spurs, so I don't really feel too confident about Son as a captain, but I'm pretty happy about having Son in my team in general. Saka against Burnley at home, good fixture for him. Really nothing else to do if he's fit. If he's not fit, then maybe I sell him already. I kind of want to sell him for Bowen next week anyway, so that's something I have to do. And speaking of Bowen, I really want to bring in Bowen for game week 13 to captain him against Burnley away. Potentially depends on Son as well. If Son looks good against Aston Villa at home, maybe I just go with the regular captain that most people are going to choose in Son next week. But either way. But speaking of Bowen, he is someone I might bring in next week for either Diaby or Mitoma. So basically this week would be like an audition for both Diaby and Mitoma to prove to me who should be in my team, and Saka for that matter. Like those 3 guys are people that I might sell in game week 13. So they really have to prove something to me in game week 12. Hopefully they can all produce at the same time. Diaby against Fulham at home, Mitoma against Sheffield United at home should be really good fixtures. And then my striking partnership, Haaland and Alvarez against Chelsea away. Like I've said previously, they can beat anyone, they can score against anyone. So pretty happy to start Alvarez and Haaland in pretty much any game week. So happy about that. As far as my bench options go, Kabore against Man United might actually not be too bad because Man United are really bad currently, so maybe it's not the worst if Tsimichaos doesn't play and I don't do any transfers and Kabore comes on. But as we know, Tsimichaos is most likely going to come on and get 1 point if he doesn't start. So just not really happy with Tsimichaos. It's either Tsimichaos or Dogi out for me if I'm going to do a transfer. And I'm looking at Jamal Lascelles, both because I think he's really good value at 4.0. I had him as my second most important defender to have in my weekly wildcard draft this week, only behind Gabriel, who I already have. So it makes sense for me to get Lascelles, both because he is really good value and also because that value helps me get the money to go from Diaby or Mitoma to Bowen, because I need that extra about $1 million to go from Diaby or Mitoma to Bowen. So going from Tsimichaos or Udogie to Lascelles would give me that fund or those funds and would give me that option in game week 12. So that's something that I'm probably looking to do. But ideally, Tsimichaos plays, and I can just save the transfer and do other transfers potentially next week. Maybe I can do another double transfer. Maybe I can sell Alvarez to someone like GW12, for example, and get the money that way instead. So there are some other avenues to get Bowen, but I'm really interested in getting Bowen in Game Week 13. So that's probably what I'm going to plan for in Game Week 12. So those are basically my current plans for this upcoming game week. Don't really have to talk much more about that. So let's move on to the Manager of the Week, because I didn't have the opportunity to do the FPL Scope podcast where we usually do the Manager of the Week, but that means I can do it again for this team selection video like I did last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago or something. So let's move on to the Manager of the Week and let's see how they did in Game Week 11. So the Manager of the Week was Tracy Keith, and this manager scored 54 points, which is really, really good. But it should be noted that this team, it looks like a really good team. And it looks like sort of like a Game Week 1 team-ish, sort of in some ways, I guess, with Bruno Fernandes at least, especially. But the reason that this team got so many points is the fact that this is a zombie team. This is a team with no transfers. This person has not done any single transfer this whole season. It's part of a zombie league where you can't do any transfers. So this is a team that is supposed to last from Game Week 1 until Game Week 38. And to be honest, it looks really good. Like, it has Trippier, it has Watkins, players who look really good so far this season. Stones hasn't really worked out so far because he's injured. Foden maybe could have been someone else. Darwin is like a fun pick to have there as well. Bruno Fernandes has been slightly disappointing. Probably should have been Son there, to be honest. But that's really just hindsight, because no one really expected Son to be that good at the start of the season. So in general, really, really fond of this zombie team, and it really worked out this game week. And anyone who has like a pretty poor rank, look away now, because the Manager of the Week is actually, I looked up the overall rank, and the overall rank is the exact same as me. So you see my points, 672 points. This manager has 672 points and is about 350k in the world, even better than me because I haven't done any transfers. So yeah, if you're really unhappy and you have like a 2 million or 3 million type rank, yeah, don't beat yourself up too much, because yeah, we know that some players have just performed this whole season, and this is in general just a really good zombie team. I just have to say, like, really good team in general. Top contributors this week was Bruno Fernandes. Finally, the loyalty to Fernandes paid off with 11 points. Got a nice little goal there. Fernandes to beat Fulham. The winning goal with some bonus points. Also had Trippier, who once again got 9 points, got 3 bonus points. Pretty luckily, I'd say. He probably should have had a yellow card towards the end there. I say as someone who hasn't had Trippier this whole season. Kind of salty about that. But yeah, 9 points for Trippier also was nice to get as well. And Foden, who didn't even start this game week, he came on at the half for Haaland and scored and got 6 points. So decent differential for him as well. But yeah, still, only 54 points. It's very low for a Manager of the Week. And it's pretty much just down to this manager being a zombie team manager as well. So yeah, don't beat yourself up about your score this week. It's like several content creators have said, it is a good week to have a bad game week because no one else had a good game week. So yeah, it feels bad because no one of your players scored. But it is better than when half of your players score and you get 60 points and someone else gets like, or most people get like 80, 100 points. Like the point differential between you and the average manager is what counts really in a game week. So I'd rather have 38 game weeks where I score 30 points and everyone else scores 20 points than having 38 game weeks where I score 60 points and everyone else scores 80 points, of course. So yeah, that's just how it works. But yeah, let's take a look at this manager's plans for next week. And it's pretty much self-explanatory. This is a zombie team, so no transfers allowed. 0 wins, 0 in the bank, 2 free transfers. This person has burned, like 10 transfers so far, because yeah, they're not using any tips, they're not using any transfers, they're not changing their captaincy, they're not changing their starting 11. So yeah, just have to get things going really. But the one thing that's going to happen with this team is the fact that Stones is injured now. So Stones is actually going to be auto-subbed off, and it's going to be an opportunity for Baldock to finally prove his worth, because now Baldock is back playing. So yeah, I think that's going to be interesting for this team, at least for this game week. But in general, just really, really impressed with this team. In general, some really fun picks, some really smart picks for the whole season. So hopefully you go on and win your zombie leagues. We're rooting for you here at the FPL Scope, and maybe we'll do a zombie league next season. I might just do a zombie team myself in general, because yeah, I might have to quit FPL if I don't get to 10k subscribers, or if I get to the top 10k this season. That is basically the promise that I made to my viewers. So I guess I have to stick with that, maybe, probably. But yeah, we'll see about that. But either way, this team looking really good. Alisson and Darwin against Brentford at home, good fixture there. Gabriel and Saka and Spurs at home, good fixture there. The City fixture for Foden and Haaland, Chelsea away, not the best, but like I said, they can score against anyone. Mitoma, Sheffield United at home, really good for him there. Watkins against Fulham at home, Trippier against Bournemouth away, and Bruno Fernandes against Luton at home. Like, this is like one of the better game weeks for a zombie team, I can imagine, in terms of how the team looks on paper at least. And yeah, how does this compare to what an ideal free hit team would look like? Because yeah, that's something that I usually do in these videos as well, or have done at least in the last 3 game weeks. I've presented like my ideal free hit team for that game week, and then looked at the result from the past game week. And that's what we're going to do once again. Look at the result from this past game week, and as we can imagine, game week 11 was a terrible game week, so the free hit draft probably didn't do too well. Let's take a look. So yeah, 27 points. It's slightly better than my own team at least, but it's not the best. Again, the differentials have just been awful. My favorite differentials each week have all blanked now, apart from Mbeumo. And Mbeumo was kind of like I put as a favorite differential just to try to jinx him against West Ham, but that didn't work out. He got an assist anyway. So yeah, by the way, Mbeumo with the 5 points, Eze with the 4 points. And that's pretty much it for this past game week's free hit draft. So once again, a game week rank amongst like the 4, 5, 6 millions just about. My free hits have been terrible the last few game weeks, and it just proves to you how difficult it is to use a free hit and execute it perfectly and get a lot of points. I think the free hit is best used as like a gap, like bridging a gap between 2 game weeks. For example, in game week 18, if you want to have Mbeumo and Haaland and Alvarez both before and after game week 18, using the free hit in game week 18 is a really viable option if you don't have the wildcard like me. So I think that's the best use of a free hit. Just use it as a way to make your team better before and after the game week that you free hit, not necessarily maximizing your free hit or your team for that game week, because it is really difficult to guess who's going to score a lot of points. But let's try to do it anyway for next game week and hope that finally we can turn a leaf and actually have a good free hit team for once. So let's take a look at what my ideal game week 12 free hit team would look like. So this is it pretty much right here. I've tried to target the best fixtures once again. Go with triple Newcastle, 2 defenders against Bournemouth. I think they will keep a clean sheet even though it is away from home. So Pope and Trippier, I have a lot of money in this team because Haaland against Chelsea away was not part of this team, so I have a lot of money. So Pope and Trippier come into the side, and Gordon as well. I have a lot of faith in Gordon this game week. He plays most likely as a striker against Bournemouth. I think Newcastle will score 4 or 5 goals potentially in this game, so Gordon could be amongst those goals for sure. So I think those 3 are really good. I have a double up on Arsenal, probably should be a triple up on Arsenal. Maybe I would go with Martinelli rather than Son, looking at it now. But still, Son is also really good. But Gabriel and Saka against Burnley at home, really good fixtures. I have them in my own team. I have them in my free team. I have a lot of faith in them. Then we have the Aston Villa boys, Matty Cash and Ollie Watkins against Fulham at home. No Diaby, sadly, but yeah, I think the other midfield options are better. But I also have Watkins as the captain because I think Watkins is actually the best captaincy option because Salah against Brentford is a decent captain, but Brentford is also a really tough team to face. So yeah, I think Watkins is just in general a better pick, and he is a player who can get those big hauls like we saw against Brighton. And Aston Villa are just so good at home, and Fulham have been so bad this season in general. So I'm expecting a huge result there. Then we have Mitoma against Sheffield United. He is in my own team. I really like him for this team as well. And then also Højlund against Luton at home. Rasmus Højlund, who scored twice. Was it twice or one time? Twice in the Champions League. Again, 4 goals in the Champions League in total now. 0 goals in the Premier League still, which is really strange. But Luton at home must be like one of those fixtures. I think Man United are actually starting to turn a little bit of a leaf now. They're starting to look a bit better. At least the start of the game against FC Copenhagen, they looked really good. And then they got the red card, which was really silly. I don't want to get into the more VAR complaints because I have so much to say about VAR, but this is FPL, so let's not talk about that here. I'm pretty tired of VAR in general, talking about it as well. But yeah, hopefully Højlund could do well against Luton. So that's pretty much the starting 11 for this team. On the bench, I also have Onana as a backup goalkeeper just in case Pope doesn't play. I think Onana could get some points against Luton at home. Luton don't usually score too many goals. They have like one scrappy goal. And I can see them getting a lucky goal against Man United, because it seems like most teams get a lucky goal against Man United. But that's why Onana is on my bench pretty much. I really wanted a West Ham defender as well in this team. But I do think Trippier, Gabriel, and Cash basically are far superior options than any other defenders. So yeah, Emerson is on the bench. I think he's the best West Ham option. He is pretty offensively minded, and he is also pretty nailed. Suma would ideally be my pick, but he's still struggling with injuries. So yeah, I don't know who's going to start as a center back. It might be Suma if he's back. Aguero might be dropped because he's been sort of terrible this season. Mavropanos hasn't played much this season. Soufal I do like. He is decent. He has had a lot of assists so far this season. But I think Emerson is just a more attacking threat sort of player. So I prefer Emerson if you want to go with a West Ham defender if you are on a free hit for Game Week 12. Then we have Archer, basically, who's just like a cut price guy to have on the bench. And then finally we have Estepinian, who gets like an honorary space. It looked like he was going to be potentially a starter for this free hit team, because there were talks, or at least the survey said that he was hoping to have Estepinian ready for the Sheffield United game. But now in the Europa League, he came on and had to be subbed off again. So it seems like that dream is over, sadly, because I really want Estepinian to be back in FPL. I had him in my weekly wildcard draft yesterday. Now he wouldn't be. Now I would have Saliba instead in my weekly wildcard draft, most likely. But yeah, I just really want Estepinian to be back healthy, because he is one of the most electrifying players in all of FPL. So it's a little wrestling reference there at the end for you. But that has been the team selection video and free hit video for Game Week 12. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you give it a like. I hope you subscribe. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers pretty soon, maybe within the end of the year. That would be very ambitious, but hopefully spread the word. If you've been watching this channel for a long while and you like me rambling about stuff and you want to share it with your friends, please do that as well. It would be very much appreciated, because I'm going to make a lot of content coming up, at least next week. Maybe not so much, because it's still an international break. I'm going to use most of that week, I think, to prepare for what's going to come afterwards for Game Week 13 and beyond. Then in general, I have some pretty good ambitions and plans for this channel to grow more into the new year and beyond in 2024 as well. So yeah, that's pretty much me done. Thank you for watching this video. See ya. Thank you, and goodbye. And good night, good morning, good evening, whatever it is where you are. But bye.